Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy, what is today? Thursday. Oh my gosh, time's flying by. So, what happened today? We got a couple executive orders. We got one for AI, we got one for crypto as well. We'll take a look at all those. We had Cynthia Loomis be the chair of the banking subcommittee for crypto, which I thought was great news there. We'll talk about that a little bit as well and what that might actually mean for us. But more or less, we got Bitcoin or crypto stockpile, no SBR right now. But Cynthia Loomis is working on it, so that's a good thing there. We'll take a look at that. We'll also take a look at a request from viewers here. One was for Digihost, look at their latest presentation. We'll look at that as well. And there was something else I was going to take a look at. But we'll get into all that. There's quite a few things we got to get through. All right. As always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice. For them only, please do your own research as always. Full disclosure below that as always. And then hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. If you would be so kind. And let's take a look at what's going on here with the markets. So Bitcoin today was down quite a bit, and then it went up quite a bit as well. So today was actually, it was an okay day. We were basically flat on the day. You can see here today, Bitcoin was down all the way to a low of 101,000 and a high of 106,000. So nice $5,000 swing on that one. It closed at 103,926, which was just slightly above where it closed yesterday. Where yesterday closed at 103,667. We were up just a little bit by about $300 or so, $259 up on the day. Right when I think a lot of the expectation here for today was on the executive order for maybe a Bitcoin strategic reserve. That didn't happen, but we got close to it, I think. Right. So we'll talk about that in a second here as is. Bitcoin's down a little bit here right now. I think we're still looking pretty good on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still at above 100,000, which is good. Miners were mixed today. They were up. Well, actually, they were down in the beginning of the day. Then they were up towards the middle of the day. Then they were down at the end of the day. It was kind of mixed on those guys. But MicroStrategy was down again today for a third day in a row. It was down 1.1%. Bitfarms was down 3.01%. BitTier was down 3.82% for the second day. Cypher was up for the second day, 0.36, just a little bit. Cleanspark was up for the second day as well, 2.42%. CORZ was up for, what is this now, the seventh day in a row, 2.32%. CORZ just does not care what's going on in the world. It's just going up. And I can't blame it going up. It's just we're getting closer and closer to it having the revenue coming in from CoreWeave. So, yeah, I can't fight that. Hive was down a little bit today as well, 1.27%. HUT was down for the third straight day, 1.66%. IREN was up for the second day, 5.32% on the day. Mara was up also for the second day, 1.32%. Riot was down 1.14%. I mean, it was up much higher during the day. Not sure what the heck happened there. Well, it came all the way down, but it was up much higher. It got to a high of 1454 and came down to 12.99. So it's basically down $1.50 or so from the high. On not, like I said, I don't know what the heck happened there. Wolf was down just 0.8%. It was also up much higher today as well. It got to a high of 675 and it closed at 618. So was that about 50 some cents difference there? Not much price swings. And then when we look at the smaller miners here, a lot of them were down except for like Digihost, up another 14.23%. So we're going to take a look at their presentation here towards the end. Omar requested it, so we'll take a look at it here. I'll give you guys my thoughts on it as well. But this one has been going up like even better than all the miners. It's up 100% in the last 8 trading days here. The only thing that I can think of is maybe the deal that they have signed with one of those nuclear providers there. But even still, at that point, what's really causing this thing to go down? Is it just because it's been so over or undervalued and being down? Is just kind of catching it a little bit here? That might be it as well. We'll take a look at it, see what they actually provided. But I mean, this is like their, if you look at it, it's actually, is it going to be their 52-week high here for them? Going back to May 2023. We're going back to December. Yeah, this is going to be their 52-week high here. They're at 289 right now. So they definitely are outperforming some of the other miners that are actually generating a heck of a lot of revenue here. So that's surprising. We'll take a look at it. We'll look at the presentation there, see what's going on there. DMG was up 3.48%, and Mawson was up 2.55%, just slightly here. It never really did well after it well, there was a news of about bankruptcy or something like that, proceedings for them or something like that. That was false news there. That drove the stock down tremendously here back in December 4th here, and it's just never really recouped after that for some reason. It's been trading lower at that point. And then Stronghold was down as well. The ETFs, for the most part, were in the green slightly. They did better during the day, but then came down towards the end. Only one was down here today. DAP was down. And let's take a look at what else do we have here. We have Applied was down 3.84%. Trump Coin was down 5%. Tesla was down a little bit here as well on it. Okay, let's take a quick gander here on the network hash rate for Bitcoin. It is back up a little bit here to 778, the 30-day average. Let's see that one. That one, oops, did it not load? Did not load. Let's try that one. Okay, that one's up a little bit as well to 786. So we're trading sideways on that one. Not much being installed here, surprisingly. Has everybody installed everything that they're going to install? No. A lot of these guys are still going to be installing more hash rate going forward, but it just seems like a little low here on the growth here in hash rate that we've seen here ever since basically the start of January here, more or less, on that one. Okay, let's take a look at Bitcoin here for the month of January. We're up 10.33%, which is pretty close to where we were yesterday, right? Not much movement there. Bitcoin ETF inflows or outflows, what do we see here yesterday? I mean, we had inflows yesterday as well, 248 million. Everybody's reporting here. Biggest gainers, 343 million from IBIT as well, which is BlackRock. And then let's get into the news, the executive order that came out today on it. Let's go back up here. There's quite a few things to go over, so I'm going to try and go over it relatively quickly here. But the President, Trump, and David Sachs was a part of this. He provided some commentary here. We're actually going to take a listen to this really quick, and hopefully I can do this. Let me see here. Let me change the sound where the sound is going to. It is going to here, and hopefully this doesn't blow you guys out with the ears. So let's try this. I'm going to try playing a little bit of a clip. It's about 15, 20 seconds long, and I'm going to try listening as well, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on it as well. I was listening to this earlier on today when it first came out, and at first I thought we weren't going to get it. And then eventually we did get the results there on it. Let me see here. Hold on. I'm hearing myself in the... There we go. Okay. But the first like 10, 15 seconds or so, it was about David Sachs right there. Fantastic gentleman there. He's heading the crypto. He's basically AI and crypto czar. But let's listen in on this, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on it.
Very important in just about every case. And it will go through the first one, please.
Do you want to? Yeah, Mr. President, this is an executive order on crypto. We're going to be, we're doing.
Yeah, so we'll hear that, crypto, sorry, we're doing something else. At first when I saw this, I started tweeting about it, and I thought he maybe made a mistake on it. And I put it out there on the tweet, and then I was continuing listening in on it. And it's like, okay, they did AI, and then they did the crypto thing on it. So let's listen in here some more.
Sorry, Mr. President, this is an executive order on AI. We're basically announcing the administration's policy to make America the world capital in artificial intelligence and to dominate and to lead the world in AI.
Okay, so this is, I think, also really good. The AI part of it, right? They want to make America the greatest AI country in the world. I'm all for this. There's got to be also, I think, you can't just give it free reins. There's got to be a little bit of a shackle on it because you don't want it to become an AI, general AI, where it takes over. We don't want a scenario where we have a Terminator basically on the loose, or any other of the scenarios that we've seen in movies where AI just takes over and we become basically batteries, like in maybe Matrix, the movie, if you remember that one as well. Fantastic movie. If you guys haven't seen it, you got to watch it. But let's continue on here. They go on to that, and then after that, into the crypto build.
David is one of the greatest in the world at AI. Most respected, probably, there is.
Probably should forward this a little bit. You can definitely hear that.
That should take us to the forefront, right?
Absolutely. We got it, man.
Okay, very nice. Signature sign there.
Okay. Thank you. And this
You would think that the president would have like a stamp that would just go.
We're going to be forming a
There you go,
internal
crypto
working
executive
group
order.
to make America the world capital in crypto under your leadership.
There you go. Make America the crypto leader under Trump's leadership, right? This is great news there. So let's take a look at what's actually in here. And I think there's a lot of good stuff in here as it is. Did we get the SBR, Street Bitcoin Reserve, in here? No, but we got some things that I think might be hinting towards that anyways. So if you look at the executive order here, it's strengthening America's leadership in digital financial technology. They didn't actually come out and say this is for crypto or Bitcoin, anything in general. It's more or less a wide swath of things that it possibly could include here. So down here, purpose and policies, right? Protecting and promoting the ability of individual citizens and private sector entities alike to access and use for lawful purposes open public blockchain networks without persecution, including the ability to develop and deploy software, to participate in mining and validating, to transact with other persons without unlawful censorship, and to maintain self-custody of digital assets. This is a huge win for us. Especially if you own Bitcoin or any kind of crypto and you have it off exchanges on your private wallets or things like that. Obviously for mining as well, so that covers the Bitcoin miners as well. Validating transactions, which the miners do. This is great. This is a complete 180 from what we saw in the prior administration with Biden and everything else. We had Choke Point 2.0. They were going after some of these guys and things like that. So this is great, right? Continue on here, promoting and protecting the sovereignty of the United States dollar, including through actions to promote the development and growth of lawful and legitimate dollar-backed stablecoins worldwide. So this is also good. So think about USDT possibly as one of them, right? So that's good there. Protecting and promoting fair and open access to banking services for all law-abiding individuals, citizens, and private sector entities alike. This is huge. Again, one of the things that I ran into when managing the Bitcoin mining farm from 2017 through 2022 was the initial trying to get a bank that we could use to, sell the Bitcoin that we mine there to pay for electricity, the facility there, anything else, right, that was covered by that. That was tough. We had to go through, I think the third bank finally approved it, but it was just a nightmare trying to get that. Trying to get also insurance companies to go along with this was a nightmare as well. But this is really good. This definitely will make it hopefully easier for people to get banked with cryptocurrencies and be able to sell cryptocurrencies on exchanges and then funnel the cash to pay for operations, because not everybody still accepts Bitcoin or any other coins in general. So you still need to pay in US dollars. And this should make it easier for that to work out. Okay, taking measures to protect Americans from risks of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, which threaten the stability of the financial system, individual privacy, and the sovereignty of the United States, including by prohibiting the establishment, issuance, circulation, and use of CBDC within the jurisdiction of the United States. This is great news here. All right, we don't want the government being able to track as far as what we buy, what we sell, or anything like that. That goes against basically what the Constitution is, right? So this is great news there as well. I'm happy to see that in there. Going down here, Section 3, revocation of Executive Order 14067 and Department of Treasury Framework of July 7th, 2022. Executive Order 14067 of March 9th, 2022, ensuring responsible development of digital assets is hereby revoked. So, right, the Biden administration was trying to kind of move this along, and this is now rescinded, revoked. You can't do it here, so that's great news. The Secretary of Treasury is directed to immediately revoke the Department of Treasury's Framework for International Engagement on Digital Assets issued on July 7th. So again, fantastic news there. I'm happy to see that. Let's see here. All policies, directives, and guidance issued pursuant to Executive Order 14066, the Department of the Treasury's Framework for International Engagement on Digital Assets are hereby rescinded or shall be rescinded by the Secretary of the Treasury as appropriate to the extent they are inconsistent with the provisions of this order. So that just kind of highlights that even more. I'm going on to Section 4 here. Establishment of President's Working Group on Digital Asset Markets. There is hereby established within the National Economic Council the President's Working Group on Digital Assets Markets Working Group. The working group shall be chaired by the Special Advisor of AI Crypto Chair, so that's going to be David Sachs there. In addition to the chair of the working group, shall include the following officials or their designees. So we got the Secretary of Treasury, the Attorney General, the Secretary of Commerce, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Director of Office Management and Budget, the Assistant to the President of National Security Affairs, the Assistant to the President of National Economic Policy, the Assistant of President of Science and Technology, the Homeland Security Advisor, the Chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Chairman of Commodity Futures Trading. That's including pretty much everybody top down in the government here, more or less, that has anything to do and possibly to do with crypto or anything. That is fantastic news here. So I'm happy about that. They go on to the details here. Big thing here is within 30 days of the date of this order, the Department of Treasury, the Department of Justice, the Secretary of Exchange Commission, and other relevant agencies, the heads of which are included in the working group, shall identify all regulations, guidance documents, orders, or other items that affect the digital assets sector. Within 60 days of this date of this order, each agency shall submit to the chair recommendations with respect to whether each identified regulation, guidance document, order, or other items should be rescinded or modified, or other items other than regulations adopted in regulation. So this is good news. They're going to basically go over all the crap that's out there and say this is okay, this is not okay, get rid of it, possibly, or put it out there to get rid of it. Within 180 days of the date of this order, the working group shall submit a report to the President through the APEP, which shall recommend regulatory and legislative proposals that advance the policies established in this order. In particular, the report shall focus on the following. Okay, so this is important here. The working group shall process or propose a federal regulatory framework governing the issuance and operation of digital assets, including stablecoins in the United States. The working group's report shall consider provisions for market structure, oversight, consumer protection, and risk management. So that's all good there. The working group shall evaluate the potential creation and maintenance of a national digital asset stockpile. Right, so that's kind of where I had the title for the video. Stockpile and propose criteria for establishing a stockpile. Are they using a stockpile as just like a placeholder right now for the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve? Because Cynthia Loomis is working on something there as well. So potentially derived from cryptocurrencies lawfully seized by the federal government through its lawful enforcement assets. So that's kind of one of the things that we talked about as well. Government has over 200,000 Bitcoin right now in its coffers, basically, that they were looking to sell. It looks like they might not be selling it now, but that might also put those funds into it as well. So that's good news there. It's not the wording that we wanted to see with the SBR, but it is close enough to that as well. Section 5 here, prohibited of central bank digital currencies, right? So we talked about that a little bit up top. Except to the extent required by law, agencies are hereby prohibited from undertaking any action to establish, issue, or promote CBDCs within the jurisdiction of the United States or abroad. Thank you. So that's great there. B here, except for the extent required by law, any ongoing plans or initiatives at any agency related to the creation of the CBDC within the jurisdiction of the United States shall be immediately terminated, and no further actions may be taken to develop or implement such plans or initiatives. Okay, that's fantastic news there for us. All right, then you got other things that you can go into here. I'm not getting into that, but this is all great news. This is all things that we want to happen, right? We kind of knew that the SBR was going to take a little while to get done. It's going to have to go through the House, the Senate, and then possibly into the president's hands to sign later on. But you have to have a framework and everything else that's developed up for it as well. So I think this is all great news here. This is a nice first step towards that end goal there, right? And then here we can see that Senator Cynthia Loomis posted this today as well. Honored to chair the Senate Banking Committee on Digital Assets, right? So digital assets are the future, and if the United States wants to remain global leader in financial innovation, Congress needs to urgently pass bipartisan legislation establishing a comprehensive legal framework for digital assets, and that strengthens the U.S. dollar with a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So she puts it out in here. They're going to be working on that. I'm humbled by my colleagues have placed their trust in me to chair this historic subcommittee, and I look forward to shepherding bipartisan legislation to President Trump's desk this year that secures our financial future. So she's working hard on this. So thank you, Senator Cynthia Loomis, for doing that. And it's going to be a while before we might get that, but I think we will get there nonetheless. Now, could the government stockpile Bitcoin in absence of an SBR? While this is ongoing, right, getting the law written there, I think that might be the case. So it's going to be interesting to see what plays out here, but there is a possibility where they could stockpile Bitcoin earlier than we get an SBR here, which would be kind of nice because then the United States could actually front run some of the other countries that would want to also put it on their balance sheets or whatnot. Okay, so great news all all around, basically, what we're seeing here today. You guys can provide your comments, obviously, in the comment side of things that ask me questions about it. You kind of know what I think of it already as it is. I think it's great news. So I'm still very, very bullish on Bitcoin and the miners in general. So I'm looking forward to this year. I think it's going to be a fun year. We'll see where we end up here, but definitely higher from where we are right now is what my expectations are. All right, so that's it on that one. Let's go into our viewer request here, which was on Digihost here. Right, Digihost states that they are a leader in energy assets and data center infrastructure. Download presentation. Do they have a presentation here? Oh, so this is one that I downloaded here. This is from January 16th here. Omar, I think you stated that this was from today. I was not able to find anything from today. If you said it was like a 10-page, this is more like this is definitely more than 10 pages. This is like a 22-page here. But we'll go through this, and I'll see if, Omar, you can provide that, if I'm right or wrong on this one, if this is the one that you were talking about here. This is the corporate overview here for them. And Digihost is a smaller miner, right? Stock price was $1.59 when they did this on January 16th, more or less. Shares outstanding, not a lot of shares also, right? This is as of 9:30, 29.9 million shares. Market capitalization was 44 million. FD shares outstanding was 36 million. Cash equivalents was about 8.3 million. Not a lot of cash, but also zero long-term debt, which is good. Insider ownership was 22.1% here. And let's see here. What else do we have here? Company history. They've going back to 2021 here. You can kind of read over this. I'm not going to go over this whole history report on them. Digihost core business strategies drive consistent revenues through wholly owned utility assets. Digihost owns and operates FERC and PSC approved combined cycle power plants. The company developed and operates 2 additional sites utilizing 40 megawatts of power capacity to deploy Tier 1 data center colocation services. So that's not Tier 3, but it is Tier 1. The company is currently developing more land assets to provide more than 200 megawatts of power, and then provide Tier 1 data center clients with consistent, cost-effective power colocation agreements in effect with large U.S.-based Bitcoin mining companies. All remaining unallocated power is utilizing for profitable self-mining, optimized for post-halving environment, and then leveraging existing know-how to expedite deployment of Tier 3 data centers. Digihost is currently pivoting one of its existing substations to service Tier 3 data center clients. The company has invested in newly development assets exclusively focused on additional Tier 3. Okay, so that's good there, right? But as far as, do they have any actual clients there? They have a couple sites here. Columbiana, Alabama, 22 megawatts, Tier 1 colocation, self-mining, hash rate, 750 petahash, right? North Tonawanda, New York. Capacity 60 megawatts, load study in process for additional 60 megawatts, so they could get to 120 megawatts there. Revenue streams, Tier 1 colocation, ISO payments, BTMG bidding program, hash rate 2.2 exahash. So this is a colocation, basically hosting for somebody there. And then they have Buffalo, New York, capacity 90 megawatts, revenue stream, Tier 1 colocation, hash rate of 600 petahash, and self-mining. So Tier 1 colocation and self-mining as well at that one. Operational footprint, North Towanda Power Plant, you can see that one. They have their sites or data centers right here, looks like. A power portfolio distribution, 100 megawatts. They have Tier 1 colocation, that's the main one here. Tier 3 colocation, nothing here. Utility power sales is part of it, a small part of it, and self-mining is also a very small part. So a lot of the revenue that they do get is from hosting right now, not much. Anticipated power distribution going forward here into 2026, 220 megawatts. A lot of it's still going to be Tier 1 colocation, so hosting. And then utility power sales is going to be a small portion. Tier 3, also a smaller portion. And then self-mining, even a smaller portion. So it looks like they're mostly going to be hosting and for, like Tier 3, Tier 1, HPCI business as well in there. And very, very little of their own self-mining on that one. Now, why has the stock been going up like crazy? Anybody's guess right now. Right, they put out some Digihost valuation disconnect. You can see the enterprise value to exahash, which is something that I look at also, right? We know that some of these guys are getting definitely a high premium at that point. They're getting right now, or at least on the 16th, they were getting only 16.4 million. So definitely way undervalued, but it's also based on exahash value, and their exahash for self-mining is kind of small. So that might be partially it here, right where the average is about 182, way under that. And then megawatts owned, what you're getting for that is 564 for them. They do EV to megawatts, which is kind of interesting as well. How much you're getting for that. And with their 100, they're getting 0.49, 49 cents basically. So that's definitely under the average of it. But who else is getting really that high? Mara's getting high, really high, 827. TeraWolf also 959, also getting high there. BitDigital 873, based on their numbers here for what they're getting on it. Okay. Market opportunity, mining, co-location has definitely, they see that as a trend that's going up here. The largest Bitcoin miners rely on co-location service for their mining operations. Mara, 63%, Hut 8, 72% of co-location mining. And then what else do we have here? AI data centers. The United States data center market is expected to generate $37.5 billion of revenue in 2024 and is projected to reach $95.2 billion of revenue by 2021, representing a 20.49 CAGR on that one. Okay, maybe so, but how much can they actually get out of that business there based on their sites and everything else, right? So then they talk about Tier 3 data center background. General requisitions for greenfield to Tier 3 development here. So you got land acquisition, regulatory approvals, energy infrastructure purchase, and build out, find a customer. Yeah, unless you can find a customer and then do it the other way. But you're looking at 9 to 12 months here, varies by state, 18 to 24 months. It's a long process that it takes to build out a Tier 3 data center. Which goes back to kind of what I've said about Hut 8, right? They're looking to build out in possibly this year, that site in Louisiana. I'm hesitant that they can do that. I would be happily surprised if they can build it out in a year. I mean, just put it that way. Digihost Tier 3 expansion plans. So Digihost first Tier 3 data center already underway. Digihost is currently converting wholly owned 22 megawatts expendable to 55 megawatts Tier 1 data center into a Tier 3 data center in build-out phases. So that's good there, right? I wouldn't really call this a Tier 1. Well, maybe they call it a Tier 1, but I wouldn't really call this a Tier 1. I'd call this a Tier 0 based on the picture at least. Proposed Tier 3 data center conversion site. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call that a Tier 1. I would call that a Tier 0 actually. Existing infrastructure in place, power, transformers, high voltage access. Company anticipates first phase activation, 5 megawatts by second quarter of 2026. So they're a ways out. They're a year out plus on it right now. So your anticipated EBITDA per megawatt, 1 million times comp EV EBITDA asset multiples 15x and times total anticipated megawatts development, 22 megawatts asset valuation, 330 million. That's kind of what they're anticipating there. Tier 3 expansion plan continued here. Develop, customize, deploy advanced micro reactor. Okay, so this is where they're talking about getting in with nano nuclear energy. So we're talking about these smaller micro nuclear reactors or modular nuclear reactors. We're talking about developing SMRs catered towards our North Tonawanda 60 megawatt power plant. That's in the early phases, right? They are going through the approval process there in the state. Guide Digihost through the anticipated regulatory approvals, safety compliance, and technical integration of a nuclear technology, right? Which is something that's going to have to be there. I'm sure there's going to be probably community meetings and things like that for it. If you're going to be putting a nuclear reactor in close to population or something like that, some people might not be for it. It might be tough to get that. Provide consistent base load power to Digihost operations to accommodate future growth in the Tier 3 HPC space. Okay, so that's great there. Right, we're seeing a lot of these companies looking into these micro reactors, small modular reactors going forward. I believe there's a lot of potential there going forward. I also think we need to build out some of these larger, regular nuclear reactors as well to make America, great in all these things with HPCI, Bitcoin mining, whatever it might be, because to be honest, China is kind of kicking our butt right now when it comes to developing and building out these large nuclear reactors right now. They have a lot more planned and a lot more being built out than we currently have. So we definitely need to kick some dust in there a little bit. Anticipated milestones, we're not going to get into that. Digihost EV to beta comparables. They're comparing CleanSpark, Riot, Mara, Bitfarms, digital asset miners. What is this to? 2025 estimated beta comparables. Okay, they're comparing them to that. Digihost sum of parts asset values. Current megawatts 22 plus 60 plus 19 equals plus 0 there at Hildebrand, North Carolina. I think this is 100 megawatts right now. Potential is going to be obviously to get to 220. So they do have some growth there, which is nice on it. But yeah, I mean, based on this, a lot of the growth is going to be, well, they're building out towards tier 3 into 2026. So I'm really surprised that the stock is running this much right now. In the last 8 days, up 100%. The only thing I can think of is, yes, they were undervalued. Are they catching a little bit of bid here right now? Possibly. Have shorts maybe left them alone? Maybe that is also. But it's also people looking for some of these smaller miners that have not done well here recently, and they're just pumping them up. That could also be the case. So if you're in profit right now and you're doing well, maybe take some off the table. Lock in your profits on this one, because this one appears to me like it might come down a little bit. It's getting a little frothy by my estimations here. So that's kind of where I see things right now on this one. Okay. And that is it. I think that's all we have here for you guys tonight. So let's get into the Q&A. Not much happening with the other miners as well. I checked through all the stories on those guys. There's nothing new. We're waiting for quarterly results. We're waiting for the end of the month here, basically, to find out how do they do in January and how will they do going forward as well. All right, but that is it on it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A here. I'm going to scroll up a bit on it as always. If you guys provide, if you do provide a question, preface it with a Q as always, and I'll work my way down from there. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit here and work my way down. Let's see here. I can't pronounce that. BSOTM. Except for the Q&A, can you share your thoughts on the Galaxy? They are getting close to reaching 2021 all-time highs again. Performance has even beaten Coinbase, and there are rumors of NASDAQ listing. Galaxy, I know that they kicked out Argo, and they're going for HPCI, I believe, is what their intents are on it. I haven't really tracked Galaxy that much because they don't provide monthly updates. Well, they mine a little bit of Bitcoin as well. Let me see your Galaxy. Let me see if I can find them. Galaxy Digital. Institution Galaxy. Okay, let's take a look at them really quick here. Let's see. Screenshot. There we go. Galaxy Crypto Blockchain Solutions for Digital and Native Ecosystems. Yeah, allow. Okay, that's fine. Cookies. That's also frustrating with the websites. Any website you go to nowadays is like cookies, cookies, cookies. Do you want to allow them? Yeah, just allow them. I wish there was a setting that you could just go into, or not allow them. A setting in the browser, you go allow all cookies or don't allow all cookies. You have to click each time. But let's see what we have here as far as global markets, asset management, digital infrastructure. I want to see their latest press releases. Company, leadership board, cancer, newsroom, investor relations, newsroom. Okay, let's see what's going on here with them. Latest one that we have from them is December 13th. Galaxy unveils new suite of blockchain services to empower protocols and investors. Prior to that, we had Galaxy completes SOC 2 Type 2 examinations. Celebrating progress and purpose. Women in crypto. Okay, let's see. Yeah, like I said, they don't provide much as far as what they're actually doing here. I'd have to probably go back into their quarterly results or any SEC filings, things like that, to see if they can do that. But what is their ticker symbol here really quick? Let's go back here. Do they have it? Let me take a look at their ticker symbol. What is their ticker? Oh, where is it at? Usually you would find it here on the bottom typically. Let me see here. What is their ticker symbol? Let's go back to here. Let's see if we can find Galaxy on here. Let's see, Galaxy Digital. GLXY, Toronto Stock Exchange. I believe that's the one. Let's take a look at them here. So let's go down here. Galaxy's at 33.94. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it's been having a pretty nice run up here. Ever since, when did it start running up here? Tuesday the 5th. And then, so they had earnings come out here, looks like. Earnings were in the red, though. Why is this one running? I'm not sure. I have to take a more detailed look into them. But they're definitely doing pretty good here this past year. See, this is back in October 2023. They've been kind of running up since then, it looks like. What are they up to right now from there? They're at 492. And they are up to all the way up to here, 633%. Man, if you got into Galaxy back then or anytime since then, you're probably doing pretty good here. I'm not exactly sure why it's running up. I know they have, what's his name there? The guy that's running it. Sometimes I hate my brain because my brain goes to sleep or has a brain fart on me. What is it, Michael? Is it Michael? I'm trying to think. Michael Novogratz. Michael Novogratz is the guy that runs it there. Very smart guy. He had one fumble with Luna coin, I think it was, where he also tattooed Luna on his leg, I believe it was. Was it? Terra Luna. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'll have to look more into it, this one. This one's definitely interesting. But I know that they kicked out Argo. They ended their contract that was ending in December here. And they were talking about going into HPCI, I think. So I think that's maybe what's driving it there, maybe, on that one. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the Q&A here. I want to make myself a note really quick to do a deeper dive on Galaxy, see what the heck's going on with that company there. All right, let's go back here. Okay, what else here? Let's see here. Question: did you see where SEC rescinded SAB 121? This clears the way for financial institutions to custody Bitcoin. Bye bye, Joe. Yes, I saw that as well. I forgot to put that in there. That was the other thing that I saw. So that's good there, right? So now, before they were heavily burdened on, they had to have like a huge amount of collateral in order to do that. Now they can just custody it. So that clears the way for banks and other institutions to custody it. So that's great news there. Okay, let's see here. Is Mara confirmed to be leading the effort in building an SBR? They're doing it with the states, right? Fred Thiel provided a tweet yesterday that they are working. Their goal here is to work with the other states that have not yet done something, right? We had 12 states reported already that they're working on something. So, yes, he's working on it. And then no SBR right now, but we have things that are moving towards in that direction, I think. Okay, let's see. Minor Degen says, Bank of Japan raised rates 25 basis points. Good for DXY weakness. That's awesome. That's what we want to see. Question: with all the good news, why didn't we go up? Well, we did go up a little bit here today, and then we came back down with Bitcoin. But patience. I think we just needed to be patient a little bit more. Okay. What else here? Would it not make more sense for the government to hold off on the news of a reserve, possibly if they want to accumulate before then? If they imply there will be before they accumulate, the government would accumulate at higher prices, right? Yeah, that's kind of what I said in the beginning there. That yes, that would make more sense if they do it as a stockpile. They can do a stockpile possibly on the quiet, while possibly Cynthia Loomis and others are working on an actual SBR law, right? We need laws changed there in order for the U.S. government to actually hold Bitcoin as a strategic reserve, like they do with gold and oil and other things as well. Right, what else do we have here? Let's see. Carl, thank you so much. Great broadcast, Seb. You provide the most valuable and factual assessments of news and PRs. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for coming in, as always. What else? Okay. Question: has the Cleanspark ATM ended, or are they still ongoing diluting? No, that's done for. They ended that when they got the convertible notes. Or convertible, what do they call it? Convertible debt, convertible notes, whatever that is. Okay. Are we ever going to get a Bitcoin reserve and not a Trump coin reserve? I think we are. We're working towards that goal there. I think it's going to happen possibly this year. I was hoping it was going to happen within the first 100 days, but I'm not sure. See, one more thing. Most people do not read anything for themselves anymore. Reading the news as you do and provide a factual narrative really helps to educate people. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right, to read it. It definitely takes time. And you really got to love the space to get into the nitty-gritty of some of this stuff here. And I love this space. Let's see, John says, Loomis did say the U.S. will get the SBR this year. Yeah. Okay, so we're working on it. Patience. Okay. Why hasn't Bitfarms hash rate moved from 12.8 exahash? well, we're waiting on the results for January right now, right? So we need to see if they installed anything, and we'll have to wait and see. Do you think the miners go parabolic in Q1 or Q2? I think they're going to start going parabolic in Q1 once they start reporting their fiscal. Well, some of these guys are going to be reporting their fiscal year-end results. Some are going to be providing their Q1 or Q2 results. Those guys should come out first out of the gate there. So I do think so. I think with especially some of the miners that have HODL position there, they should, in theory, with HODL and the FASB rules being attached to it, provide really nice EPS figures there. Okay. Is Stockpile and SBR the same thing? Not really. The country can have stockpiles of things, right? But a strategic reserve of something, you need that into law, I think. At least that's the way I understand it. And then what is the time frame for a stockpile? Thanks with all the this news push, BTC 200 soon, hopefully, right? But that's the way I understand a stockpile. They can stockpile things. Like a stockpile, they can have the coins that they have already in possession that were confiscated from possibly illegal ways. They can use that as a stockpile and then eventually use that stockpile to put it into the strategic Bitcoin reserve. So that's the way I understand it. I could be wrong on that. Okay. Question, what will be the impact of banks now allowed to hold BTC after SEC order rescinded? It's going to be a slow process, I think, for the banks to get into it. I think they're even more risk averse than anything else. So it's going to be a long process, I think, for them to slowly get on board and possibly be able to hold Bitcoin for their customers and things like that. But it will happen eventually. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's see here. Seb, did you see a bunch of Bitfarms execs playing their own stocks? Feels like something big coming. Buying, you mean? Right, I saw that they've been buying. Ben's been buying quite a bit here recently. So have some of the other execs. I love seeing that. That gives me confidence that they also believe that their stock is undervalued. So that's good there. If we establish SBR, who holds the keys? What is to prevent future administrations from draining the SBR? Thanks. Well, hopefully that gets put into law, right? So that's something that they definitely have to think about there is how long do you want to hold it? Do you want to use it for something at some point, right? Yeah, that's definitely an interesting question there. But I think it would have to be put in the law that this is going to be going forward and it's not something that's going to be easily changed, that you're going to need change the laws around again. So they need to put in some guardrails, I think, at that point. Okay. Question, is the president establishing a strategic crypto reserve or is it only Bitcoin? Right now, I would say a crypto stockpile. So that could include Bitcoin, other assets, crypto assets as well in there. But Cynthia Loomis is working on something that's more focused, I think, maybe for Bitcoin. Maybe it's not for Bitcoin. Maybe it could include other things as well in there. We'll have to wait and see what that actually regulation looks like or the laws look like on it. But the whole talk has always been about Bitcoin here. We'll see what we get actually. All right. Question, all the miners that don't report monthly numbers outperforming, maybe the trick to high stock prices to be as opaque as possible. Maybe. But a lot of these guys already the ones that I track obviously provide it. But even some of those guys that I track have done pretty well here, especially the ones that have had some HPCI play potential. Those guys have done pretty well. So maybe not. I don't know. Let's see here. Aren't they overvalued? I'm not sure who you're referring to there. Let me see. You might be referring to Digihost. Maybe. I would have to look into their numbers more. So let's see here. Question, why have you lost faith in Bitfarms? I haven't really lost faith in them. I'm kind of on the sidelines right now, more or less. I want to see what January comes out. I wasn't happy with December numbers where they didn't increase their hash rate at all. I wasn't happy with the fact that they pushed out their targets for 21 exahash to the end of the first half of 2025 when they should have reached that in 2024. So there's things that I wasn't happy about. So I want to see how they do going forward. But I still own a lot of the shares there. And depending on what they provide for January, that'll be the deciding factor as far as whether or not I'll hold on to them or I sell some and put it into some other ones. Let's see. Okay. Hi. I just wanted to ask, do you think Stargate deal make any profit to IREN for HPC? We don't know, right? We don't know where that's going to be going to. I heard Satya Nadella today from Microsoft say that they are putting in 80 billion, I think it is, 80 or 90 billion, whatever it is, investing in their AI HPC stuff. And also the 500 million that we're thinking of, or 500 billion, is a potential of where it could get to. But I think the first figure is 100 billion there on it. So I don't know how much they could get from it, depending who's doing it and where it's going and what they want. That's tough to say. But is there a possibility they could get it? Yeah, there's always a possibility, right? What is that chance, though? We don't know. Nobody knows. See, question here. Shouldn't everyone have an interest in seeing Congress get SBR established ASAP? I would think so, too, yeah. There are some people who want to see it established later, but they're forgetting about a thing called midterms. That's also true there, right? We have the, he's got the advantage, right? We got Congress, Senate, and then White House as well. So might as well get that done while we have people there to push it through. Yeah, so I would agree with you on that one as well. Question, do you think it's a good idea to buy more Cleanspark? I think that they are still undervalued from where they really should be, right? Take that for what it's worth coming from me, right? Do your own research as always. I'm actually looking to buy possibly more next week if it stays low around these areas here. So we'll see. I think that they will, if Bitcoin goes up, they should do very well. And they should have a really good Q1 results for them, which is our Q4. Let's see. Neville says, historically, the president's party usually loses control of at least one chamber of the Congress. So if they don't get this established ASAP, we may risk not having an SBR at all. Yeah, historically, that's been the case. So time might be the essence. I'm not saying that we need to get this done in like 4 years. I'm thinking if we can get this done in the next 12 months to like 16 months, 18 months, whatever it might be, I'd be okay with that. Let's see here. Hi, Seb. Do you think or not that I'm thinking you're saying Cleanspark here, historically is releasing the earnings early February for the quarter? I would have thought 3 months since they released their last quarter in December 2nd. Well, for Cleanspark, it's not a end of year numbers for them, so they don't have to be audited for them. So that makes it easier and quicker for them to provide the numbers. So I do expect those to come out early February, like the first or maybe at the latest, like second week of February at that point. So yes. Let's see. What's the CBDC thing? Why is that good news? So CBDC was a central bank digital currency. So no more dollars, no more cash. Everything would be digital. The government would be able to see everything that you're spending your cash on. I mean, they can kind of see that already as it is. If you have credit cards or things like that, but at least it's not as intrusive, or at least a little less intrusive. You can still use cash, right? If you want to pay somebody for work around the house or something like that, you can still pay them cash and not have to report it. They don't have to report it possibly. So there's still some advantages to that, right? Not tax advice or anything like that. But I think it's a good thing, right? Because that's a slippery slope. Once you get into CBDC, you can then possibly cut people off of it if that's all they have, because the government, the party that's in power right now in the government doesn't like what you're doing, they could just cut you off, right? And then you're pretty much SOL. We saw that kind of in Canada with the truckers protests, right? I mean, they're going after people's banking, and it's crazy. Right? Just because they don't agree with you, they're going to cut you off. That's nuts. That's not a democracy. That's totalitarianism, or whatever you call it. So I'm all for the CBDC should not be a thing. Let the people have still cash, things like that, credit cards if they want, whatnot, even crypto or whatever it's going to be. So, I'm all for that. Let's see here. What do you think of Riot providing a new buyout merger offer for Bitfarms? I think an offer between $3 and $3.50 per share gets it done. They're not going to do that. They got that investor in there that's wanting them to go towards HPCI. I think the cash would be used for that instead of trying to buy out Bitfarms here. So I think that is kind of set and sailed more or less on that one. Let's see here. Omar comments, Digihost. Thanks for Seb for the presentation. Digihost was broken in its resistance. It was stuck at for 2 years. Likely to keep running until we reach 2021 highs. Okay. I hope that's the case for you guys, right? But it's getting a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not tricky. It's getting a little bit more risky is the word I'm looking for as it goes up higher. So just be careful there. Take profits if you can and ride the rest up. Let's see here. Question, are banks free to use XRP again for cross-border payments? That I don't know. But again, banks can create their own coins to go cross borders if they want. I don't know. Let's see. Do you think Bitfarms needs an IR person that's out there more promoting the company to the investors like the other miners? Yeah, I would say yeah. The more engagement you can have with the community, with investors, everything else, that would be good. Maybe we're not seeing it here on the retail side of things. Maybe they are doing it with institutions and things like that, which we don't see it, which is behind the scenes. But with retail, I'd definitely like to see a little bit more of that. Okay, let's see. Question, is this looking like the 2017 cycle? It was looking like the 2017 cycle based on, let me see if we can pull this up here. Where is it at? Where do I have this? It is right here. So if we look at this chart here, on this one, this is the monthly performance for Bitcoin. The 2017 cycle here, we were right there, right? So we had the prior year, 2016, which would have been our 2024. We had September, October, November in the green, and December was a nice month here. We didn't really have a nice month here in December. And we're having also a pretty good month here in January, where in 2017 we didn't. We're kind of flat on it. I mean, we're not doing fantastically well. We're up 10%, but we're still... But it is kind of shaping up that way, right? Prior to that, we also had 2015, which would have been our 2023. That was, 4 months of green here. We had 4 months of green there as well. Could it play out that way? Maybe. We'll see. I mean, if we had 2017, that'd be nice. I don't think we're going to have another cycle like we had in 2021. 2021 was a weird cycle, right? Bitcoin mining ban in China, and then we had the Three Arrows Capital thing, FTX, all this other stuff that happened that kind of subdued the cycle top, I think, at that point. So it was just weird. So I'm expecting hopefully like a 2017 cycle where we do go up nicely here during this year. In 2017, we had, where is it at? There it is. We had basically only 3 months in the red and the rest were in the green. If we get that this year, oh my gosh, that'd be fantastic. I'd be happy for that. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, Melon has a question. Ben lied about their 21 exahash year-end goal. The first week of December, he still was spewing that lie. In an interview he definitely knew at that point it wasn't happening. He was trying to pump the stock. Was it the first week of December? I can't remember. If he did, yeah, then it was definitely a blatant lie at that point, or misrepresentation, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I mean, you should have probably known by the end of October that you're not going to be able to reach 21 exahash for whatever reason, because things are not being built out or you're not getting the miners in time. Yeah. Let's see. What else do we have here? Okay. Let's see. With all good news, does this mean that BTC price won't go down much? No more dips? Well, that's kind of what I've been saying and thinking possibly. That going forward, we might have an extended cycle where the dips are shallower. We might go down 20-30% at most, and then continue to go up. So it's hard to tell right now. We're still very early. Oh, not very early. I'd say we're halfway in the cycle right now. We'll have to see how this year plays out more or less. Let's see here. Isn't CBD legal in your state of Illinois? CBD, cannabis you're talking about there? Yes, it is. Okay. How long do you think SBR will be official? A year? I'm thinking within a year, right? Cynthia Loomis also stated that as well. Will any states SBRs launch in 2025? That's kind of what I'm also thinking, that some of the states might actually get in front of the government there. So that would be interesting to see. We already have 12 states that are looking into it, so it's definitely a high possibility there. Omar here, question, is it just me or are we starting to see a rise in more miners while BTC floats around 100,000? We see some miners rising even on BTC down days. hidden bullish divergence, or am I off? Thoughts? No, you're not off. I'm seeing this kind of same thing where Bitcoin's down, miners are kind of up a little bit here. It might be the reversal that we've been waiting for, but it's still very, very small here. We'll have to see how it plays out in the next couple of weeks. Let's see. So lastly, if Sunday night Bitcoin reset is above 104,500, from TA we go to 120,000 soon. Mega Wolf on YouTube. Okay, that would be great. I'm all for it. Let's see. For someone that is bullish on Bitfarms, is it a wise idea to keep DCing into them? I would say, personally, I think so, right? If you still believe that Bitcoin's going to go up and they can actually execute this year to get to 21 exahash, get the deal done with Stronghold this quarter as well, then yes, there should be some good catalysts happening for them going forward. But on that one, because I do believe that they're way undervalued from they really should be. Right, they're like the second one undervalued after Hive. Hive is actually more undervalued than they are. Okay. Sarmelin says, okay, it was actually November 13th that Ben said they were still hitting 21 exahash, but even then he had to know. By then, yeah, I would think you would know, right? If you can't make the deadlines for building out sites or getting miners in time, whatever it might be, you kind of see the progress of what's happening and where you're at, and you're like, crap, I still got 10 exahash to go. Am I going to be able to do that? Probably not. Yeah, I probably should have started talking about that a little bit more. Okay, let's see. When the banks, institutions, and government agencies start buying, wouldn't it make sense to buy out or partner with a miner to obtain Bitcoin at a discount price? Well, you need the separation from, right? You don't want government mining Bitcoin or buying a miner or taking over a miner in general. You want the separation of state and private or public. Miners are mostly public. But you want the separation, right? There's never been a time, I don't think, other than at wartime, that a country or United States has gone in and basically taken over a business or something like that just for whatever reason. So I don't think that would be something that would happen. Okay. Will the U.S. lose power of sanctions if countries can just use Bitcoin to evade them? To a small extent, yes. I mean, we're already seeing that with was the BRICS, I think they call themselves BRICS. Is it BRICS? Or BRICS? I can't, BRICS, Russia, China, Brazil, others as well in there. They're looking at ways to skirt the system, right? Evade the sanctions, but there's sanctions that you can put on other things like shipping vessels and insurance companies, and there's definitely many, many ways you can put sanctions on them, not just for financial reasons. So, yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's see. Hello, Seb. Hi. Ciao. Is it actually possible that institutions will just short the miners for the entire cycle, no matter their performance or Bitcoin price? Thanks. I would hope not. What sense would that make? I mean, okay, they can maybe make some cash on it going up and down and trading in zones, but if you let these things run, you could get 3, 5x, 7x on these things. Wouldn't that be a better outcome than just 10% here, 20% there? Yeah. Plus, I think eventually, if the companies are providing good EPS numbers for the quarter, you're gonna have institutions not only institutions, but I think retail as well going into it, going, hey, these guys are profitable, they're making a lot of money. Pushing the stock up at that point as well. How big of an impact do you think the curtailing of Cleansparks have on their EPS now? By the way, nice tweet earlier trying to quell the FUD. Baby cry to the naysayers. Yeah. It's not going to be for this quarter. It's going to be for the second, or for their second quarter. It's going to be our first quarter here because their end of fiscal year is at the end of Q3. So the prior numbers for Q1 are going to be stellar. This little couple of days that they're down on production, it's going to be a couple $1 million. Right? It's not going to be a huge amount for them. Plus, if Bitcoin goes up in value and the number of Bitcoins that they have there, that's going to appreciate. So if Bitcoin goes up 25% or something like that in a quarter, that's going to be huge for them as well at that point. If it goes up higher as well, that's going to bump them up even more. So It will have an impact, but not that big of an impact, I don't think. Okay, do you think the news today is the sort of thing that will eventually give us FOMO with new investors dreaming of 300 Bitcoin? It's the start, right? It's not that kind of shock and awe where you're gonna get, where you get that initial punch and things run up. I think it's a little drizzle, right? But that drizzle is gonna accumulate in a bucket or something like that, whatever you want to use as a metaphor, that will accumulate over time. So I'd rather have it go slow and steady than fast and parabolic. I'd rather have it go up a little bit slower and higher maybe. Neville says, yeah, I sort of feel where Sylvia is coming from. The short sellers seem relentless, and it appears they just won't stop until they get squeezed. Yeah, that might be the case here. We'll have to wait and see. All right. Okay, I think I've cut up to all your guys' questions here. So we're going to call it a night here. We're going on about an hour here. So a lot of news today, which was good news. Miners did okay for the most part, but overall, we're going in the right direction, which is the main thing here. Right, we're getting rid of all that FUD from the previous administration. We're clearing house. We're going in the new direction, in the right direction, in my opinion, at least. So I see a lot of good for us in the future, as long as things don't go crazy on us, or we get some kind of an event that, like, what do they call it? Black Swan event, right? As long as we have a Black Swan event in the world or something like that, we should be good. It's going to be bumpy, right? It's not going to be straight up to the moon, but it's going to be bumpy, and it is going to be going to the upside, I believe, here going forward. So be prepared for that. Place your bases on the horses that you think are going to win, and the best of luck to everybody. But thank you so much for coming in. We'll talk about tomorrow, whatever happens tomorrow on tomorrow's stream. But love you all. Hope you guys have a great night. And tomorrow's Friday. Thank God it's going to be Friday. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to it as well. But I'll see you guys tomorrow.